Everyone who saw her during the morning shift thought the same thing. A middle-aged cleaning woman silently mopping the corridors. No one spoke to her. No one looked at her twice. Until the operating room doors opened and someone called out, "Doctor, Rahman, your patient is ready." Today, from which city in the world are you watching this video? If you enjoy stories about unsung heroes and unexpected moments, consider subscribing to Untold Hero Stories. At 6 a.m., the corridors of St. Mary's Hospital were silent. Neon lights flickered on one by one as tired night shift nurses finished their last notes. At that hour, the hospital felt like a giant organism trying to breathe. Slow, careful, not yet ready for the chaos of the day. From the way Sarah Rahman pushed her cleaning cart, no one would have guessed she was Dr. Sarah Rahman. She was 45, medium height, her gray-streaked hair tied back in a practical bun. She wore a blue cleaning uniform and comfortable work shoes. No badge, no insignia, no nameplate. Nothing gave her away. Young Dr. Williams, rushing down the corridor, had to slow down to avoid bumping into her. "Excuse me," he muttered, without even looking at Sarah. To him, she was as ordinary and invisible as the hospital's walls. Nurse Jennifer, leaving the break room, saw Sarah changing the mop water. "Morning cleaning started early today," she mumbled to a colleague. Sarah heard but didn't react. She had worked here for 25 years and knew all too well how people saw her. But Sarah Rahman's true story was far more complex than anyone could imagine. When Sarah arrived at the hospital at 5:30 a.m., security guard Mike greeted her with his usual warm smile. Opening the door, he said, "Good morning, Sarah." Mike knew her as a cleaner, but he sensed something different about her. Maybe her posture, maybe the way she spoke, maybe the spark of knowledge in her eyes. In the staff locker room, Sarah checked a file hidden behind her locker. Inside were her Harvard Medical School diploma, neurosurgery specialization certificate, and countless awards. Dr. Sarah Rahman was one of the most experienced neurosurgeons in the country, but today, just as she had for the past month, she was only a cleaner. This transformation began 3 months earlier. Sarah's 78-year-old father, Ahmed Rahman, had suffered a heart attack and was admitted to St. Mary's Hospital. His condition was stable but required long-term care. While visiting him daily, Sarah noticed a severe staff shortage. Nurses were overworked, cleaning staff too few, and patients weren't receiving proper attention. That's when she made an unexpected decision. She would reduce her work at her private clinic and volunteer at the hospital, but in secret. If she came as Dr. Rahman, she would get special treatment and never see the real situation. Working as a cleaner, she could observe the problems from the inside and watch over her father closely. Sarah's morning routine was always the same. She started by cleaning the ICU room where her father stayed, so she could both do her job and check on him. That morning, Ahmed was awake. His eyes lit up at the sight of his daughter. "My child," he whispered weakly, "why are you still doing this? You're a doctor." Sarah stroked his forehead. "Dad, this is my home now. I'll be here until you get better." Ahmed understood her sacrifice, but worried. "But people don't know who you really are. You're a valuable doctor. Why hide it?" "Because, Dad," Sarah said as she continued cleaning, "sometimes the most valuable lessons come from the most ordinary places. That's the best lesson I've learned in these 3 months." As she cleaned the corridors, Sarah closely observed the hospital's social dynamics. She saw how arrogant young doctors could be, how impatient the senior doctors were, and how overwhelmed the nurses were. Dr. Patterson, one of the youngest and most arrogant doctors, 32 years old, Harvard graduate, cardiologist, crossed her path that morning. He didn't slow down. As he passed her cart, he snapped, "Please don't block the way." Sarah quietly stepped aside, but her eyes gleamed. She noticed how carelessly he handled patient files, rushing decisions without attention to detail. Nurse Maria approached Sarah. "That doctor is so arrogant. He treats us like we don't exist." Sarah looked at her with understanding. Sometimes people belittle others to prove their own worth, but real worth is shown by how you treat people. Maria was struck by the depth of Sarah's words. "You're different from the other cleaners. It's like you know more." Sarah smiled. "Everyone has different stories, Maria. You can't judge by appearances alone." By noon, the hospital was at its busiest. Ambulances arrived, the ER overflowed. While Sarah was cleaning the OR floor, she noticed panic spreading. Nurse Rodriguez ran in. "Where's Dr. Martinez? Where's Dr. Harris? We have an emergency brain surgery." Head nurse Thompson raised her hands. "Doctor, Martinez is in another surgery, doctor. Harris is at a conference. There's no neurosurgeon here." Sarah froze. An emergency brain surgery meant minutes could decide life or death. Dr. Patterson rushed in. "What's happening?" "A young man from a car crash," explained Rodriguez. "Skull fracture, brain hemorrhage. If he isn't operated on immediately—" "I'm a cardiologist," Patterson cut in nervously. "I can't do brain surgery. We need another doctor." "The nearest neurosurgeon is across town," Thompson replied. "It'll take at least an hour." Sarah's grip tightened on her mop. Her heart ached. Every second mattered. The ER doors burst open. A stretcher came in with a young man, his hair matted with blood, his eyes shut. Behind him, a crying woman, his mother. "My son, please save my son," she cried. Dr. Patterson checked vitals. Blood pressure dropping, pulse racing, intracranial pressure rising. Sarah couldn't hold back. She pushed her card aside and stepped closer. "How bad is it?" she asked calmly. Patterson snapped at her. "This isn't your business. Step away." But Sarah persisted. "Has a CT scan been done?" Patterson froze. "How do you even know that term?" Ignoring him, Sarah checked the patient's pupils, then his pulse. Calm, professional, like a doctor. Thompson stared. "Sarah, what are you doing?" At that moment, another nurse ran in. "A doctor is on the way from downtown, but traffic's jammed. At least 45 minutes. "Too long," Patterson muttered. "He won't survive that." Sarah spoke quietly. "He needs surgery now. The bleeding won't stop otherwise." Everyone turned to her. "Who are you to say that?" Patterson barked. Sarah inhaled deeply. The time had come. "I am Dr. Sarah Rahman," she said firmly. "Neurosurgeon. 25 years of experience." The corridor fell silent. Patterson's jaw dropped. Nurses stared at each other. "That's impossible," Patterson said. "You're just a cleaner." Sarah pulled out her ID. "Chief surgeon at St. Catherine's private clinic. For 3 months, I've been here caring for my father." Thompson checked the ID. It was real. "But why as a cleaner?" "Because sometimes," Sarah replied, "to see the truth, you must first become invisible." Minutes later, she was in scrubs, mask, gloves, transformed, commanding, focused, authoritative. The surgical team gathered. "I haven't seen you here before," the anesthetist said cautiously. "I usually work at a private clinic," Sarah replied. "But today, this man will live." She studied the CT scan. A hematoma in the temporal region. Craniotomy, control bleeding. 2 hours. Her precise language and calm authority convinced the team. The operation began. "Scalpel," she ordered. She opened the skull, located the hemorrhage. "Bleeding from superior temporal artery. Clamp, cauterize." Every move was steady, calculated. The anesthetist whispered in awe, "Doctor, your technique is flawless." "Johns Hopkins, Mass General, then home," she said, eyes fixed on the brain before her. For 2 hours, she fought for the young man's life. She stopped the bleeding, repaired vessels, cleared the clot. Finally, the patient stabilized. Excellent work, the scrub nurse said. Haven't seen such composure in years. Sarah removed her gloves. Thank you. ICU for 24 hours, then recovery. Outside, a crowd had gathered. Family, nurses, doctors, even administrators. The boy's mother rushed forward. Doctor, my son? The surgery was successful, Sarah said. He'll live. Recovery will take weeks, but he's safe. The mother wept, hugging her. You're an angel. Sarah smiled gently. I only did my job. Dr. Patterson stepped forward, shame on his face. Doctor, Rahman, I owe you an apology. I disrespected you. Sarah met his gaze. What matters is the patient. But in the future, respect everyone. You never know who they truly are. Hospital director Dr. Morrison approached. Doctor, Rahman, we don't know you well. Why did you work here as a cleaner? Sarah removed her cap. My father has been a patient here. I wanted to see the truth. As a doctor, you'd have treated me differently. But as a cleaner, I saw everything. What did you see? Thompson asked. Short staff, exhausted nurses, poor sanitation, and some doctors who respect patients but not their colleagues. Her eyes lingered on Patterson. Morrison nodded gravely. Your feedback is invaluable. What do you suggest? Hire more staff and ensure equal respect. From janitor to chief, everyone matters in healing. Patterson stepped up. She's right. I'll change. I apologize to everyone. Sarah smiled softly. Apology accepted. Growth matters more than mistakes. That evening, Sarah visited her father. He had heard. My daughter, he said proudly, I'm so proud of what you did today. Sarah sat by him. Dad, these months taught me more than any medical school. True worth isn't in titles or uniforms, but in character and respect. He squeezed her hand. You've grown wiser through this. The next day, Morrison made her an offer. Assistant chief position is open. Will you take it? I have my clinic, she replied. But part-time, yes? Wonderful. Lead a reform program here. She agreed. Soon change began. Patterson became respectful. Nurses felt valued. Cleaners were acknowledged. Sarah worked 2 days a week, never forgetting the lessons she learned in disguise. 6 months later, her father was healthy again. The hospital had transformed. Morale was high. Care improved. One evening, walking the corridors, Sarah thought, sometimes the biggest changes begin with the smallest acts. And sometimes the strongest lessons come from the humblest places. The young man she saved returned to thank her. Doctor, you gave me life. I can't thank you enough. Sarah smiled. Just be a good man. That's thanks enough. And so, the story of the woman who mopped hospital corridors reminds us, we never truly know who we're looking at. True worth isn't where it appears, but where it's hidden. From which city are you watching this video? Share in the comments. And if you believe these stories should continue, don't forget to subscribe to Untold Hero Stories, because every silent hero has a story waiting to be told.